Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So I recently got a really cool opportunity to photograph young MA here in Brooklyn for a New York-based magazine called Office, and it was an incredible day of making photos. I didn't originally plan on making a video, but we had some really awesome behind-the-scenes footage that my girlfriend Allison shot. It's been a while since I've done anything here on the channel about making portraits, so I thought I'd make a little updated video about how I shoot portraits. We shot in the studio with a bunch of different lighting equipment, so I thought it would be fun to show you how I do that kind of thing on film specifically, because it's a little bit different than digital, and just share some of the photos with you. Before we get into it, I do want to thank the amazing team that made this possible, because this kind of thing is never down to one person. We had somebody produce the whole thing. I had some incredible lighting help from my friend Alan, who you might know from the channel. My girlfriend Allison filmed everything. There was an amazing stylist on the set and a bunch more people who I'll have linked down below. Before Young May arrived, we obviously set up everything in the studio, got all the equipment ready so that when she did show up, it was easy to just start taking pictures and make the most of that time. I think we took photos for about 4 or 5 hours. It was quite a long day and a lot of photos were made. So I hope you enjoy some of the photos. Started by just heading outside in the area outside of the studio that we were renting. I always find that this is a really easy way to kind of get people warmed up and get everybody on the set comfortable with what's going on. It was a really nice overcast day, which is awesome for portraits because it's really soft, diffused lighting. The area we were in was Gowanus, which is a neighborhood of Brooklyn, and we were just kind of using some of the industrial backgrounds as scenery for the photos. I really like the deep blue colors that happen because of the overcast lighting, and overall the skin tones look pretty good in my opinion. So for the first photos of the day, not too bad. This was a nice way to start things. After all of this, we kind of were told that we couldn't shoot outside in this area, which was fine because we got some good photos in. So we headed back into the studio, set up the seamless paper and some lights. The first kind of lighting we were using was strobe lighting, which is essentially a flash that goes off in the split second that you actually take the photo. You synchronize this to the camera with a little remote that goes on top of the camera and just plugs into the lens or wherever it might be on your camera. I personally love working with strobe lighting. The only disadvantage is that you can't really see what the lighting looks like until you get the photos back. So you kind of have to know what you're doing in advance unless you're using a digital camera. I love the soft lighting that this strobe created. I don't actually know what kind of a strobe this was. It was just available in the studio, so that's what I ended up using, but it works beautifully. And it almost looks like natural window light. It just gives you a really nice clean look that allows you to kind of focus on your subject. The backdrop we were using here was this nice eggshell creamy color. Ideally, I wanted to shoot on like a red color, kind of like this sweatshirt, but they didn't have that, so we went for something neutral and warm, which ended up working really nicely. I don't know the name of this one. It was just available in the studio, so that's what we were using. One of the things I love about renting out different studios is the fact that the props that you can use are always changing. So we had this really awesome couch and a set of flowers that I found in the bathroom, and that together made a really nice little set. We obviously were also changing up the styling the whole time. Let's talk quickly about the gear that I'm using here, because I know a lot of people will have questions about that. The camera I'm using is the Mamiya RZ67 with a 65mm lens. Typically, this is not your go-to portrait lens, but I personally love shooting portraits on a 65mm, even if it's not the most traditional accepted thing to do. I personally like the look of a wider lens for portraits. It gives it a little bit more energy, but this is totally dependent on what exactly I'm photographing. Sometimes I like using the 90 for portraits, and sometimes I think the 65 works nice. So once we got all of these really clean looking photos out of the way with the strobe lighting, we went for a little bit more creative lighting because everybody was super comfortable at that point on set. So it was time to switch things up a little bit. So at this point, we were using continuous lighting, which is a little bit different from the strobe lighting that we were using before, in the sense that it's always on. So it's a little easier to see what you're doing in real time with the lighting because it doesn't just go off when the photo's taken. My friend Alan Zhang, who's incredible with lighting, was creating this fake window look with what's called an aperture spotlight. It's essentially a shapeable light that is projected through a lens. So you can make this have any kind of shape. We just wanted to have this nice window look, and we had a little accent orange light on the side as well. Again, this kind of thing is where it's super crucial to have a team, because our stylist kind of was able to look at this lighting, see what outfit would work, and we had this really nice red jean set for young MA to wear, and I think it really completed the whole look for this setup. I think these have to be some of my favorite photos of the day, just because everything kind of works up to this with the more creative lighting, and I had a ton of fun shooting these. All of these photos were shot on Portra as always, and they were scanned by my good friends at Picture House, The Small Dark Room. So thank you very much to them for that. Thank you to the amazing team that made this possible. Once again, I'll have everybody linked down below. And finally, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Squarespace is an incredible all-in-one website building platform that you can use to build your photography portfolio online. I've been using Squarespace for over 3 years now, and I recently redesigned my website using their incredibly customizable templates. It makes it so easy to get a custom portfolio that fits your needs up and running. You can hit the link in my description for a 14-day free trial of Squarespace, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Willem for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm back in New York City. Sorry I've been missing some uploads. Hopefully I'll be back on the weekly Wednesday schedule soon. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.